My name is Tina Packard, and I am the WEAP program manager with the state of Wyoming. We just sort of thought maybe we would have a sort of a webinar. We can check in, talk about any issues that are ongoing, and then maybe some things that we're looking at for next season. So Cherie is the vendor. Are you the vendor liaison with Align? Is that your position, Cherie?
I'm actually technically the program coordinator, but yes, the position does kind of define itself more as like a vendor liaison, kind of a fuel provider liaison. I consider myself to be I could turn my camera on, and then I have to move my screen over here. Hi, all. Most of you know me. I know most of you. I'm so glad you guys are here today. But yes, I offer support, all things fuel provider support for you. So welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Looking to see if we had questions come in. I did see one. Why is the system not working correctly? I'm not getting notifications when you have approved a client, and sometimes they were on 1 month and the next month they are not.
Well, I think that might be is there a circumstantial situation, or if that's happening on the regular, and that's something that we need to know.
Yeah, I think that's my question too. Melissa, are you here?
I can reach out to Melissa directly if she's not available today and ask her if this is a ongoing problem or if that was something that she had with a person or two, because we do know, Tina and Kathy, if you have a particular itinerary for addressing this, but we do know that there has been some things this season that have come up with the APUP numbers that have caused some kind of tricky little things on the backside that has populated them to the portal. And then if there was a change in the account, it will remove them from the portal, right? And then we have just kind of discovered in that, and it was it wasn't consistently happening. It was happening if somebody had already been approved and there was a change that had to be made. For example, here's a perfect example. Sometimes they enter in, it's even a wrong account number. Okay, so if account numbers were transposed when entering the account number, right, we would have to go in and open up that account to make that change. And once we open the account and close the account, there was something in the backside of the system that was dropping them off, right? That was losing off their APUP number. So then that was coming up as these were kind of one-offs. And then the providers would have to let us know when you see that. And then we could go in and fix the UPAP number and then have it repopulate. So those have been kind of one-offs. I will personally reach out to Melissa and see if she has something that's different than what we have been dealing with recently. Oh, yes, Sunny had disappearing people too.
We also just recently ran a report, and Cherie's going to be getting that out to you for anyone who has a benefit and it still equals what they have remaining, meaning that we haven't received any invoices yet. And so she's going to reach out to you and make sure that you're aware of those people and they're showing in your portal and that we haven't missed anyone. So she'll be doing that as soon as I send her the report.
I see that Sunny has one in here that we had also spoken. I think that she had mentioned that she would like to know we are not alerted when someone is approved or removed. The alerts for somebody shouldn't be removed. It would be extremely rare. It should be extremely rare if somebody is removed. But if somebody is approved, you should be receiving an alert notice in the bell on your dashboard to your portal, right? That every time somebody is approved, it should be populating to your bell and letting you know. You also do have in your remittance, you can check your remittance for any new approvals within the last 7 days. There's a remittance report there for you. So anybody that has been approved for the program within the last 7 days would also populate there if you don't find them ringing your bell, so to speak. I clearly self-entertaining. So if it's not ringing your bell, Sony, then just check your 7 days if you still have somebody that you think should be like, and that's another thing, if you guys know somebody that has in the past continued to be a client that you aren't seeing populating this season, or you haven't been hearing from, or you think they should be receiving benefits and they've been removed, or you think something's wrong, a lot of you have reached out to me, and we've been able to kind of figure out what's going on. Some of those people don't realize that they have to apply online or call in, right? So please reach out to us and let us know. I think we are looking for is an alert. I understand. She wants to know. So we'll mark that down. They'd like an alert so that they don't have to log into the portal to notice. Is that, if I'm understanding that correctly, right? If that's something we can talk to the powers, I don't quite know how we'd have to talk to somebody technical.
I think in order to get an alert, you would still have to log into the portal.
Because we don't have an IT way, any way of just notifying you otherwise. Like, you have to be on your portal.
So, Sunny, how did you get them before the
how'd you get
portal?
them? They sent emails directly to you?
On the old system, we used to email reports back and forth, but on this system, it's all in the portal. So,
Okay. So it's not possible from this portal.
we'd have to make some changes and develop something. But still, like Tina said, it would still be inside the portal, most likely, for security purposes.
Yeah, which is a thing too, Sonny, is that we have had this conversation. Notified reports and individual well, what has been determined, and Tina, I'm sorry, please feel free to, I know you will. Is that we have determined there's been some changes because they do not like to pass information through unsecured sites. So using the portal for these totals, these client names, this is protected private information. So that is in part why the portal and everything being done through the portal, and even, partly my accesses have been, some of our accesses have changed as a result of confidentiality and having things secured through the portal. And so I think that is my understanding is that's why they are not able to do things directly through email like that anymore, is they need to keep it private, protected information for the clients that are applying for the program.
Yep, and that's exactly right. So that is the reason that you would have to log into the portal to get those alerts.
Is the portal something that we can have access to? I mean, and I don't know, Tina, who, we are maybe better than some other folks. We are assisting some folks with this. We do get some report, maybe they can't go down to DFS. They're in our office already. We have 90 or 100% of everything that they need to apply anyway, just through our intake process. So there are a few, there are people that we are assisting, actually logging in, helping them create the username and password, getting them in, uploading all their docs, and doing the thing for them. I don't know if we should be on the portal, especially if maybe they get a shut-off notice after they've been approved and we want to upload that. Right now, I'm just kind of sending it to you guys and letting you figure it out. Is that the best way to do it? I just want to make sure that we're doing what we should be doing. And if there's something more we should or could be doing, we want to do that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for me. Hi, Sherry. I'm Sherry. Who are you with? What
So
company
I'm
are
with
you
Sweetwater. I'm with Sweetwater Family Resource Center.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
In Rock Springs.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
And
so you're not an actual fuel provider. You are a community. You are a community assistant.
Resource.
You're a community partner. Okay.
Yes, we are a community partner. So yeah, my blind.
That's an excellent question. Thank you very much.
And so we're happy to do whatever's easiest for you guys. If it's easier for us to get into the portal, I mean, obviously we're familiar with this system. And like I said, we have been in it to help clients apply. I don't know if that's helpful for us or not helpful for us. So I'm just asking.
That's an excellent question. I see that Cheryl Flores, and thank you, Cheryl, has the same question. Tina, what you got?
So I think at this point, the only way that you would be able to upload directly into the portal is if the client was logged into their application. So that's the only way it's going to go directly in there. So the best way to handle that, if you don't have the client sitting right there that can log in so you can upload it to their application, then is going to be to send it to that LEAP info box. And then that way we can make sure that it gets, well, not we, Align, meaning we, can get it uploaded into their application. And then they can mark that revision request has been satisfied.
Kathleen, we're not receiving the new customer bill, only for back bills. I would like to visit with you. Let's get in there and take a look and see. What do you think of that? We can visit with her after that meeting and see if she's got a little something weird going on in there.
Would you clarify when refunds, so seasonal and back bill benefits, go to the state versus customers? I read the contract language, but need clarification. The contract says or states that only current LEAP season funds may be returned to the state. Prior years must be returned to the client. And the outline season date is starting, starting at ending dates for the regulated fuel, November 1 to May 31st. So is that correct? So then she says, we have a customer that received a back bill payment on November 17th, 24, and I guess their account is closed and they may be up for a refund.
So that
does
is
that
considered
credit?
to be season.
Okay, so that's going to go back to you.
Yes.
Okay.
And then as far as the season, because it is regulated, then that season date, nothing prior to 11/1 would be eligible for no regular season payments can be made for usage prior to 11/1. So back bill payments obviously can be made for before that, but the regular season payments for regulated, which is going to be electric, natural gas, those are going to be 11/1. Unregulated is 10/1.
Okay, so what if their back bill benefit is from like before November 24? So back anything not this season, maybe I'm making it confusing, sorry. Basically, all back bill assistance and seasonal benefits for this season get refunded back to the state.
Yes.
And then all back bill payments and seasonal benefits before November 1st go to the customer.
No. That's where it gets a little bit confusing. So when we're saying the November 1st date, that is for regular payments. So that doesn't include the back bills. Kathy, do you want to explain this? Maybe you can explain it a little better than I am.
So when a back bill needs to be returned is when it doesn't resolve the disconnect status, right? So if you use that back bills payment to resolve the disconnect, then it's now the clients, if you will, now your customers.
The only time, I just want to clarify, the only time back bill assistance needs to be returned to the state is if it didn't cancel the disconnect. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, if it didn't resolve the disconnect.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
And I can double check the policy on that just to be sure, but that's what's in my head.
Yep, that's it. And Sunny, it might be easy for us to do that.
Who's got the song stuck in their head right now?
Right? But we might be able to get the bell to make a noise. I wonder if it's a setting. I'm going to check. That's a good question.
It says, I see something from Cindy that says in the past,
Yeah.
back billing payments were a priority. They are not showing up until the end of the month. Has something changed in the process? I'm going to let back bill people address that one.
So we work them every day and payment cycle every day. So it depends on, I would assume that it's depending on when we get everything for the application and get it approved, and then work through the queue. So they are prioritized by, are they off, or are they going to be disconnected tomorrow or next week or next month? If you could give us an example, send it to Cherie, we can definitely research it out, but we work them every day and payments go every day. So we definitely want to check into that if it's taking a month, because it shouldn't be. Do you agree, Erica? She's the one that works them almost every day.
Yes, I think that's right, Kathy. It just kind of depends on when the applicant notifies us about it, and the status of their application.
Here's one that says I'm doing the application, but there is a part that says I have to print and sign the unemployment disclosure. I click on it and it says the page is expired. I'm unable to continue with my application. How do we resolve that?
Sounds like we have a broken link inside the application process.
We heard anything like that through the call center, Erica? So is this isolated to this particular situation right here?
It could be. I'm trying to think of what the unemployment disclosure would be, like the work registration, or
That'd be my guess. So we could do a test run through and see if the link is broken and have Tina Packard and her team fix it. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Yep, that's absolutely right.
In such a situation, if you were a client actively working on said application and you ran into this situation, we would encourage you to call the call center at that point, and we would have somebody that would try and walk you through that. And if it was not resolvable at the time, if they couldn't get you there over the phone, that's exactly what we would do, is take the information and contact Tina or IT, put it on our log that it's something that needs, so that we could get you up and going.
There's also another place where you could get that form. So on the applicant portal, if you scroll clear to the bottom, the forms are there as well. So if you can't get it inside of the applicant portal, if you just scroll all the way to the bottom, it's called a work registration form. I'll make sure that link.
and that's on the home screen. Yeah.
On the home screen, you're right. Let me make sure that link works. Now that I said that out loud, that's something I can check while we're sitting here. Yep, that one's working. So we'll check into the other one.
Hi, sorry. I just want to I'm just going to clarify one more thing, because I took notes and I think I confused myself, because what I wrote down, what Tina said and Kathy said, they contradict. So let me rephrase my question and just make sure I'm not making a mistake. Okay, so when I asked about, does back bill and seasonal benefits during the season go back to the customer, Tina, you said it goes back to the state. But then when I asked about back bill assistance any other time, Kathy said the only time back bill assistance needs to be returned to the state is if the payment did not help prevent the disconnect. So what am I missing? Those are conflicting. Because she's saying that the back bill assistance is going to go to the customer, and Tina, you're saying it's going to go to the state.
Well, and I was answering the question about if it's not during the season.
Okay, so
Right.
if it's during the season, back bill and seasonal, both back bill and seasonal, during November 1st through March 31st, are all going back to the state.
Yes, and it's through the last payment that you get, it'd be through May 31st. But if it's
Okay, perfect.
outside of the season, it goes back to the customer if it resolved the disconnect, which you would have known by then, right?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And I think that is, it's a little cleaner this season than it has been before, because we're only paying the actual past due amount, or as much of it as they're eligible for us to pay. So there shouldn't be a lot of overpayment. And so, you know, and we're hoping that that sort of, you know, reduces the number of refunds that we're looking at in the system. So I'm hoping that that, you know, has sort of helped things a little bit. So let's move on a little. We are working on making some changes, improvements to the vendor portal. So what I would like is for all of you to kind of give me what your wish list is as far as things that you would like to see in the portal, things that would make it easier. I know we've gotten a few, but I would really like to take your input on things like the file upload or the invoice upload. So that bulk upload for invoices, the bulk upload for consumption, messaging. We talked about messaging a little bit. We talked about the alerts, but are there things that you would like to see in the system that we do not have, that would, you know, enhance your experience or make it easier for you? And you don't have to know right away. I mean, throw them at me if you've got them, but if you want to add them later, you can add them later too. I'm taking some input because we have the opportunity to make some of those corrections or updates, or fix something that was working before that's not working now, that maybe, you know, is not on our radar right now.
Ability to see invoice after it's uploaded, mostly the attachments. Reason for denied invoice. Ability to notify of incorrect information in the portal. Again, reasons for your denied invoice should come through your notifications, but I definitely see that there's a notification issue working with the bell, that it doesn't sound like you guys are getting notifications properly, mostly just your back bills notifications. So we'll look into that for sure and see that the notifications are well, doing what they're supposed to do. And then if we can beef that kind of stuff up, those are good suggestions. Courtney says, when looking through the My Customers section, it'd be really nice if after going into a customer to upload, look into one deeper. When the back button is clicked, it would go back to the page we were on and not back to page one. And girl, do we have that on the list.
Yeah, I don't, honestly, I don't know. That is a system limitation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, Sunny. I mean, as you guys think of things, please let me know. I know that there are some things that we talked about at the vendor summit this year. And we're not seeing these things being followed. And so next season, they are going to be more enforced, but things like uploading multiple invoices or an invoice multiple times. So in October, you're uploading in October. In November, you're uploading both October and November. And so what's going to happen is next season, we're going to have only current invoices uploading because it's causing a bunch of denials in the system. If one of the dates happens to be off, then they get paid twice. And it just really causes a processing mess on our side. So next season, it's going to be current invoices only.
And I know there'll be some people that go, wait a minute, what? So current invoices and ones that haven't been already submitted.
Right.
So if someone gets approved in January, by all means, send November, December,
Right.
January, but don't every month, like Tina was describing. There's some vendors where they send in November forward every month, on and on and on till the end of time. And it makes it messy on your portal to be able to see stuff.
I like to be able to look at the actual bill that was attached after the invoice was submitted to verify if we attached the correct one. Agreed. As well as details on which user submitted the invoice. Oh, so you guys,
I will totally be honest here. I assumed you could still see that invoice after we paid it. So that's very interesting. Yeah. You submitted it. It was there. We saw it. I made the assumption it was still there.
So are you talking, Jana, the actual, so do you attach the bill to the invoice when you submit it?
Yes.
Yes, and then, I like if I submit it and I go, ooh, which one did I attach? I can't go back and look at it.
Interesting. Okay.
That is interesting.
Super
I don't even think we
interesting.
realized that, Janice, so thank you.
I
Thank
didn't
you
realize
so
it.
much. Yeah, thank you. And you can always call Jenna if you want to. You can always call and Sheree and ask
Yeah, I'll
her.
send it to
Can
you
you
and
go
tell you.
look at which invoice did I upload? Was it the right one?
Yeah,
Thank
I'll always check for you. That is, I
Yeah,
didn't know that you
it's
guys had that.
interesting.
Cindy said yes, it would be nice to be able to see the actual bill invoice submitted.
I will see what we can do because yeah, that's very odd that you can't. But I think that's the case with everything, like even the bulk upload files, the files disappear. So it does make sense to me that that's happening because when you upload a file, the system doesn't keep the file. So when when we do a bulk upload of invoices, the actual file is not stored. And we knew that.
But yeah, correct. But these are for, like, she doesn't do bulks, right? She's doing their individual submissions. And I don't think yeah, exactly. And so we didn't realize that I didn't know that they couldn't see them. That's, yeah, certainly can see why that's an issue. You guys are doing great.
I know, this is great input.
Love it. Thank you. And again, we do understand completely, like Tina said, that, and as Sonia said, as you're doing it, these things, when you're working in it, it's difficult right now, right, for us, which is honestly why we have to have this meeting, because these things are coming up all the time. Is your the email the one at alignteam.org? Yes.
Just drop it in the chat, would you, Sheree?
I will. Let me just tell you what it is.
And I also am wondering, is anybody willing to be a guinea pig? So if we have, or, to maybe be on a little, I don't know, do we call it a task force? Do we call it a committee? Do we call it whatever? To, maybe we start a little project and we just say, we're going to meet a couple of times and you can offer input on how the processes are working, and maybe we can run some things by you, or we can do it in a forum like this. And that might be the best way to do it. And then we can get input from everybody, because I think that the needs of the providers are very different. We have very large providers, and then we have providers that maybe have one or two clients. So we want to make sure that what we're doing in the system is doable for everyone, or because I don't even want to say the majority. I want to make sure that everyone has access to, and the portal will meet the needs that you have for setting up invoices or anything like that. Just a reminder too, invoicing, I know that some of them, some of the providers, I know you don't invoice monthly, but making sure that you get those invoices in as soon as you can. So we can make sure we get those paid timely.
Especially those deliveries that happen in May, we have to have that invoice before the end of June.
We do, or we can't pay it.
Or we can't pay them. And so, yes, I got your back, Tina Packard. Yes, get them to us quick as you can.
And the other thing that we ran into from last year, this is super important. If you have something that you're going to deliver it on June 30th and you're not going to have a bill until July 1st, send that to us manually. So send us an email and say, hey, this is what's going on. Send it to me, or send it to Sheree or Kathy. Send it to us and say, hey, we delivered this before July 1st, but we couldn't get the bill out to you before then. Don't just submit the bill, because it's going to get denied.
And the dates are anything delivered by May 31st. You have to have your bill by June 30. That's right, because I know you have multiple things in your head, multiple programs in your head. So by May 31st usage, bill before June 30. So yeah, absolutely. Ping Sheree, ping one of us. we'll get right on top of it. If you deliver May 31st. And
Yep.
it's going to take you a sec to get us the bill.
Maybe more on the aligned front for verification of customer status. It would be helpful if there was consistency in how we were contacted. We have some call into our customer service reps, some to our billing department, some that email. It would be nicer from our perspective to have one set way of communication to verify. This might be doable on your end, but just a suggestion. Courtney, thank you. And to be clear, it is not our intention ever to blow up your business. So if there is a way that you prefer that we do whatever verification that we need to do, tell us what that is, and we will let our team know to do that. What I think is happening, and we do try to keep it, like, hey, this is what this particular field provider, how to communicate, right? We do try and put this information out there. I think what is kind of happening is that sometimes when we have people on the phone, we are trying this, one and done theory, that when we are encouraging our call center, our temps, right, that when they have a call, somebody that's doing an application, if we can get their verification at the time to complete that application, they will call in while they're on the phone so that they can complete the application while they're on the phone. Sometimes we're getting information, putting these things together, and it is like back calls, or they've sent their documentation into the email box now, and we're attaching these documents, and now the only thing that person might need is a particular verification just to wrap up that application, but they don't have the person on the phone. So that person who's working that email box will probably send an email because it's not as an immediate attention, right? When we have somebody on the phone, we're calling to complete it right now. But then I think like Stacy might send out an email and just be like, hey, I'm trying to, verify that. And so if you have a particular way, we are more than happy to accommodate whatever your wish is that is going to work best for your office. Let me know what that is, Courtney, and we will abide or do our level best.
Yeah. And I think that, maybe I know that we were looking for next year to try to sort of refine what we will pay on a back bill. So knowing what your disconnect policies are, maybe those are things that we can add to the vendor agreement and say, okay, if there is a special way that you would like us to contact or notify or someone individual. So I think those are things, if there are certain things that your agency or organization wants us to do, as far as contacting, let us know what your disconnect is. Let's work on getting that into that vendor agreement, and then we have it. Because we just want to make sure that we have the correct information. We're willing to do whatever makes it easiest for you because it makes it easiest for us, on the backside, right? So absolutely. And I think that maybe it's just having meetings like this. I mean, is this useful to everyone? Do we do it every other month or once a quarter, or, what's everyone's preference? I know it's always good for us, right, to hear, if there's common issues or things like that, because I really do want to try to, enhance the system as much as we can. We're going to change what the vendor portal looks like on the front facing end so you can tell the difference between the vendor portal and the applicant portal. I am working on that right now.
Oh, thank you. I am too. Tina, I couldn't agree more with Courtney. Says this is very useful, and thank you for taking the time to put it together, and that she is open to additional meetings. That's convenient. Sonny says once a quarter would work fine, but if something does change and we need to do it sooner, that's good too. And I do want to take the opportunity, to thank Tina for pulling it together, and to those of you that took the time today to join us.
Yeah.
For me, I cannot say enough how much I genuinely appreciate your guys' continued effort in showing up, being present, helping these people, helping us help serve these people, and being here today and participating. That we also understand that and thanks so much to Tina for some of these identifications. We know there's a lot of things that are really going on right now. A lot of big changes that have been happening here with inside the portal and inside some of the changes that are happening with the program. But we are in no means ever, like, we understand completely that without you, we can't do this work. And so while we're making our changes on this side, you know, Tina and Kathy are very cognizant about what's going to work for you guys. Like, it's not all about us. We're all in this together. So thank you for showing up and letting us know what those things are, how we can support you and make those changes that not only work for us, but will also work for you, right? This isn't a big, we want you to do it this way. That's not it, right? We're all in it together. So thank you for your time and putting your stuff out here. We want to hear from you. Let's see.
I had a couple of people tell me that that it wasn't, you didn't get the original email. So I'll make sure. Has everybody signed up for the stakeholder messages?
A quarterly meeting. So a few of you, are saying you didn't get the.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I had a couple of people email me too after I sent it and sent out the reminder. So if you want to sign up for the stakeholder messages, that's a good idea, just because we send those out usually every other week, and you can sign up for those on the LEAP, the DFS LEAP page. It just says sign up for updates. I think, let me double check.
And you guys all showed up from a reminder.
I know. I love it.
I love your people.
I'm going to share my screen real quick, and well, I'll just pop the link in the chat.
You guys. Yes, Charity. I do believe we can get you a copy of the meeting.
We're going to post it. So if you go to this link and it said there's a place there that says sign up for LEAP updates, you just put your email in there and you're going to get notifications. A lot of them are client based, but it also is just news about what's going on with the program. And so we're going to put out these alerts there, but what we'll do is put together a current email list for vendors, and we'll send out, maybe we just schedule them now. What do you think, Sheree? We'll just schedule every quarter, and then we'll just post it and send it out to everybody. And then, we'll make sure that we send a reminder maybe a week ahead, and then a reminder maybe the day before that says, okay, here's the webinar. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll provide a link, questionnaire, you can register here. And then if you have questions, you can go add them in. Don't ever hesitate to email any of us or give us a call if you have questions or you need information. We're always available. I try to always be available if there's questions for me, or if you just think of something and say, oh, maybe we should try that. Feel free, send it out, and I'll get it on my list. I got a big list right now for my IT contractor, and they just keep shaking their head. I meet with them twice a week, and they just keep shaking their head, but we're getting it done. And I'm really glad to hear that the portal is working better this year than it was last year. That really is great news. We're finding just little weird things, and we're like, oh, that's a really easy fix. So anything that you find that is off the wall, no matter how small you think it is, let us know, because it could be really easily fixable.
And so much we don't know. There's things that we don't know on your side that we just can't see on our side, like your bell.
Things like that. And I'm relatively new and was not part of the system build.
A feature to submit suggested connections in the portal might be
that's
helpful.
a good idea. For right now, I think Kathleen, just send those to the vendor email box so that we have a record of it and make sure that the account numbers are correct. Because what I'm finding, because I'm uploading everybody's consumption data from last year, and what I'm finding is that, especially with providers who don't do a bulk upload, that the account numbers, there's a transpose digit in there, or it's missing a digit, or sometimes what we have in the system doesn't match what is in on your side. So then when we try to upload that consumption data, it won't take it because there's an inconsistency there. And I am right now working with the IT provider to clean up the way that we do those bulk uploads and maybe remove some of that validation, because I know some of it is utility bills and husband's name and wife applied for VAP. Things like that, or they used a middle initial, or something. So it's really weird things because it's a CSV file. They're kind of wonky. And so I think that I'm working on that, but making sure, check. We should be checking those account numbers on our side. But sometimes they get missed. So if you notice that something is not right, just let us know and we'll get it fixed. Go ahead, Kim.
I know that we talked about this, or I brought it up when we had the summit. An enhancement for the portal would be, we have another state that we can see in their portal, which is really nice for answering questions and phone calls, is if a customer applied, we can see the status through their office as to how it's progressing. So for an example, every year they mail anybody an application that qualified the previous heating season, and then that status shows pre-logged. And if the customer actually sends that application back, they put it in their system and it shows as logged. That doesn't mean that they have all the paperwork or that it's been worked, but it just tells us that they returned the application. And another status is complete or pending or approved or denied. So if we have customers calling and wanting to know, if they have a disconnect notice and they tell us that they applied, and we can see in that state's portal that it's pre-logged, we tell them it doesn't show that your application is even returned. Reach out to the agency and see what you need to do to get your paperwork complete or moving. So it's really a nice feature for us to have those conversations when we are talking to our customers. Not otherwise, it's just kind of, I don't know how long it takes for once the person submits their application to the status of being approved or denied, but it sure is nice for us to see some of the steps along the way, just for talking points, or maybe holding off on a disconnect because we can see that the application's complete. But anyway, I know we talked about that when I was at the summit. I brought it up.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's a level of capability we don't have yet, but Tina has.
I made a note of that, and I will definitely check.
If we can beef up our stuff, that'd be beefy. It sounds lovely. But yes. How long have they been using that particular that state? How long has that state had this particular system in place, Kim?
It's been a long time.
They've been using that system for quite a while.
Long time. And then we've always seen the statuses, which just makes it great even our credit agents use it. The ones that handle that particular state, they can look in and they can look at that customer to see if they even applied. So it's a good talking point for them when they call and say, I see that you have already applied for energy assistance. However, your application status has been sitting at, complete or pre-logged. And, so they have a talking point, and then they can get the customer to reach out to the agency, whether it's to apply, whether it's to move their paperwork along. But it's really useful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Marcia, I know that Marcia's from Hannah Housing, and this is a problem we've been working on. And I do think that we have this resolved, and I did learn of that, or I'm working on that this week. Problem loading invoices with the same account number with several clients involved. We only have a couple of agencies that this really actually affects, because you guys have kind of a special circumstance with several clients living in one building and you guys separating that. So I think that we've got a resolution to that. And that's, again, kind of narrowed down to, as far as I know, we only have 2 fuel providers. Is that correct, Kathy? That when we have 2 that we are currently working with that particular situation. So we're just handling that on an individual basis. But Marcia, I think that we've got that all solved up for you. So thank you.
So I see one that Linda put in there about, is it the client's responsibility to contact you if they have moved and have a new account number? It is the client's responsibility, but we'll absolutely take that information from you because a lot of time the client moves and we never hear about it. And so we would absolutely love if you let us know as well. You can send an email to that vendor email address.
And this is a supplemental payment, right? Not supplemental. What is it called?
A back
Not
bill.
Seasonal and back bill.
back bill payment. There you go. So if, let's say it was for, and I put an example here, if it occurred between 11/1/23 to 5/31/24, so that was previous season, right? That's an example. If the refund occurred between 11/1/23 to 5/31/24, then does that go to the state? And then the other example is that if it was received within that time window, but then the refund was requested outside of this window, for example, 7/5/24, then does it go to a customer? And I wanted to kind of put those 2 examples side by side. What we've seen sometimes is that customers, may had backdated their disconnect, and maybe Stephanie can also provide some context too. But if a customer had backdated their service connect disconnect date, that could be an example where we would have this refund in to figure out whether to send it to the state or to the customer. I hope that made sense.
Thank you, Charity.
It's a little confusing because you used a prior season dates, but if that was 11/1/24 to 5/31/25, it goes back to the state because that's the current season.
Right. So, okay, that's why I used last year so that in case so if we changed it to 11/1/24, November to May 31/25, and
Yep.
during this between November and May, if the customer moving day was left over, then it goes to the state. But let's say for this season, 11/1 to 5/31, and then, and then July 5th of this year, the customer moves and there's a leftover from it, then at that point it goes to the customer. Correct? Is that what
I
I'm
guess-
understanding?
Yeah, there is a difference on why it's being refunded. So it sounds like maybe there's a refund because they moved and there's money left over, like they have a credit on their account.
They close their
Are
account
you asked-
basically, yeah. And they don't necessarily
So
have moved to
they
another
didn't
site.
Okay. So it's not necessarily because they were disconnected. We made payments and it didn't help them restore their services, but we made payments. It helped keep them on. And then whenever they go to close their account, there's a credit on their account. So then you're wondering what happens to that credit because some of it was from a back bill from before.
It's that back bill payment that we receive that, when we apply these payments, we don't have an agency ID number separately for back bill versus LIEP payment. But yeah, it's when a customer closes their account, not when the service is disconnected. And I think we had, and I had sent you Tina, an email with an example, I believe, of a customer in which that was, that we had a question on. So if it's helpful, I can resend that.
I did get it, Charity, and I really apologize that I hadn't responded to that yet, but I will get to that today.
Okay. Sounds good. We just want to make sure, and then
course.
I guess one, maybe it's opportunity to ask, and I don't know if what other utilities do, but is it helpful to have separate agency ID numbers set up? Right now we have an agency ID number for all payments that are coming from the state, right? Would it be helpful to separate what's LIAP payment versus back bill payment?
I don't know that we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a conversation I would have to have with my fiscal department.
I think I
Um,
brought that up last year too. Kathy said no, right? Kathy, there's no way to differentiate.
Yeah. And even on our end, even our payment center, that would be difficult also.
Yeah.
Because I know that when we receive payments, they're all like what I've seen with the warrants is that there's, LIEP and back bill payments all mixed into that one warrant. So I knew seeing that, but I didn't know whether that is something that would be helpful on your end. And if that is the case, and if we should try to make it work so that it would be helpful for both of us. But if it's not an option, then that was also on my email, so you can disregard that since we've discussed it here. Is there anything else, Stephanie, that you think about?
No, I asked the same questions and I let Charity know, and then she just had that follow-up question to make sure that we completely understood. So I think I'm good.
Yeah, thank you.
They've had several clients this year. They say we're approved for funds, but it took a long time for the approval to come to them. Was it a turnaround? What is the turnaround time on this? We had several say they had approved it and went to disconnect as we did not have the notification. So here's how this goes. If a client is approved in the system and that has not that client is actually approved and that client's benefit has not populated to your portal, please contact me directly, because that would be indicative that something has happened, like the PUP number or something that has removed that person from your portal. If that person is not populated to your portal, odds are they have not been approved, unfortunately. We do have lots of times, I think, that they send in their information, or they think that they may be just because they've completed the application that they might have an approval status. That's not entirely necessarily the case, unless we've had, again, that it's like popping in and then popping back out, but not kind of a whole lot of that. So if you have people that are saying they're approved and it's genuinely just not ever showing up in your portal, then please contact me, because the approval populates to their portal, your portal, immediately. There is no turnaround time.
Right.
It's immediate. As soon as it's approved, ding, it should go directly to your portal. If that is not happening, that's where we need to know. Did that answer your guys' question? I also do know that this year we had a few things, and I'm not saying this is this particular situation, I just know it came up. Oh, thank you. That we did have some confusion this year with some clients that I'm not sure that they seem to think that because they applied once, that was that then they just automatically got LIAP every year. And I think there was some confusion in that they were, reaching out to their providers and they were like, yeah, I was approved for LIAP. Well, last year, right? But they may not understand that they have to, continue to apply, and that was kind of causing some confusion as well. So anytime that they contact and say that they're approved and you don't see them in their portal, please just call me. Just send me an email and I'll look and see, and I can tell you what the status. That would, where, Kim is talking about, it'd be really nice if we had some capability that you guys could look and access and see, well, what is the status of their current, application? What is holding that up? The flip side to that is really, though, I don't know how many of you really have time for that. Like, we have a whole entire team of people that are trying to take care of those clients. And to be entirely honest, it keeps us busy all day. So I don't necessarily want you guys to have to be, dealing with that either, that these are the documents you need and this is why, and the questions that follow, and right? Like, it isn't, I am so grateful. We are all so grateful anytime you guys can do anything to help these people pull them across the finish line. But the onus of the completion of the application does still fall on the client, right? And they do get notifications of everything that they need to submit. We all know about those clients that need extra special care and concern, and we are all in it to serve them together, and happy to dig up their documents and do everything that we can. But largely as the whole, they know what they need to do. And so please just reach out to me if it doesn't work.
And like we said earlier, if you have any questions, if you need anything, please, just feel free to reach out directly. We don't have to wait for a call. If there are issues that you're seeing, like I said, just let us know. So does anyone else have any other questions? If not, we will sign off and see you next time.